Namaste everyone and welcome to my channel called Zuzanareacts, where I learn all about India with your help. And in today's video I've been sharing a video which I haven't seen, so it's my first real true reaction about how is India perceived in the country's Western media. So I'm quite excited to see what I will be able to discover, simply because I don't really watch news. Is actually by one of your favorite channel, India in Details. So let's see what I can share about those videos. And without further ado, let's kick this off.
So first one is, how's India shown in your country's media? Is it shown in a positive way, in a negative way?
I would say it's not often shown in media, but if it's shown in media, it's like they show in TV what's the food, and sometimes there are documentaries about bad conditions in India. Yeah, and some talk really bad about India because some say that there are a lot of rapists.
Wow. Okay. So that was Berlin, Germany. It's interesting. I think in a way it's accurate because again, India is not really in the media from what I've listened to. I don't really watch anything or like the TV or news. I like to focus on positive things in life. But yeah, that would be within the food, and I don't know about the rapist part. I've seen it from Carolina's video before, but I'm completely oblivious to that. I've never heard this ever. It's only on her channel that I've heard this first time. So let's continue.
Taj Mahal.
Taj Mahal.
Yeah, Bollywood.
Yeah.
About Indian culture, I mostly recognize Bollywood.
Wow.
Yeah, and the good food.
Yeah, great.
Oh, was this Taj Mahal?
Taj Mahal,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I think everyone knows about like cows are holy and they are on the streets.
Yeah.
I think that's what I know.
They show us like it's a poor land with no money. Yeah.
So, are you surprised to hear these answers? You shouldn't be. I have personally interviewed hundreds of people abroad, and almost none of them knew about India's IT, pharma, or ISRO. India's image abroad is still very stereotyped, and unfortunately, many of those stereotypes are negative. A 2017 survey showed that the majority of people in nations like France and Brazil felt that India's influence around the globe is mostly negative.
That's very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. I whatever you guys have seen is perhaps accurate, but it's accurate from the way I see it. Is accurate from the point of view where we just don't know. We just don't know. And I mentioned it in different videos. We learn about India more through A, YouTube, or B, through people that went to India. Like everyone knows Indian food. Most people love Indian food. Yeah, there might be some kind of negative connotations in the head, but I just let's look at again at this movie. When was it showed? 2 years ago. Okay, so 2 years ago it was still negative. I don't know. I just don't have that impression of India, at least not personally me. And people here again, like Europe cares about Europe, I guess, and every country just cares about perhaps where they are. I don't know why, for example, Slovak people would need to necessarily care about India. Like I'm personally interested, but a common Slovak person, why would they care? I struggle to find an answer. It is so remote from where I currently stand. And yeah, but if you are an explorer and you want to search and learn about the culture, different cultures around the world, by all means. But other than that, for life, not too sure.
And a recent survey from a British market research and data analytics firm, YouGov, also revealed how in various Western nations, people have a negative attitude towards made in India vaccines and have a feeling that India has a negative effect on world affairs. Yes, just like many other countries, India has many problems. And yes, India's priority should be to work on fixing its problems without any delay. And yes, it will help India, but despite that, the problem is that India's global image is far worse than what the country really is, and it's not very reflective of what the real India is about.
Then it's sad. But for example, you've just been through Chandrayaan-3, right? And it does depend on how you also interpret the media. So I kind of want to put things into perspective a bit. So Slovakia, very little country, very insignificant. If you would watch the TV news when the Chandrayaan-3, which is, I believe, a historical event. I believe it is a historical event. It was covered not in the main news. So people that watch the main news, which is the population of people in their 50s or 60s, they wouldn't be aware. So they are the people that would tell their children about that, which don't watch the news. Now, the mentions of that were in Slovak media. However, I don't believe like the younger generation is that much interested in politics. So you can create an image of, well, like everyone in the world is really aware what's happening in India, but it's not really the case because no one is aware. Like if I would go around in the streets in India, I can assure you, in streets in Slovakia, I can assure you that no one has ever heard of Jay Shankar and no one has heard of the mission. That you would have to be specifically interested in a topic to know. So I think we need to be very mindful of how we are interpreting like what's in the media. Just because it's on the online news portal, it doesn't mean that it's actually given its significance it deserves, just for the context, okay?
So who is responsible for this? Is it the negative stereotyping or the not so balanced coverage by the media outlets of the former colonial powers? Is it India's poor use of its soft power and the failure of the Indian government bodies who are responsible for India's image abroad? And please tell me how this negative image is helping India. Yes, constructive, good-hearted criticism is always welcome, but does the stereotypical image of India help Indians in trade and tourism opportunities? Does this help India in getting more international students, a factor that is important for India to attract global talent and improve its university rankings? No, of course, not at all. Instead, it is hurting India in so many ways. It doesn't just hurt India's trade and tourism opportunities, but it also influences how Indians are perceived abroad and can even contribute to hate crimes or various racist slurs that are used against Indians. And yes, India needs to learn how to do the right packaging and branding, as without it, no matter what India achieves, it will always underperform. On the other hand, the former colonial powers need to stop the negative stereotyping of the formerly colonized nations and allow them to recover and regain their lost identities. To understand how cleverly Western nations do their branding and packaging, despite all their horrible problems and shortcomings that they have, watch these 2 episodes that are recommended on the top right corner of your screen. There is something else that I want to say. I worked and researched for months to produce the 12th episode of the Should India Follow the West Blindly series, and I have already uploaded the episode. But it was not even shown to our subscribers, many of whom are waiting so keenly for this episode. Why? So please watch that episode. Consider.
Okay. Interesting. Clearly Carolina has done a lot of research into that. I don't watch the media, and if I would think of and the reason why I don't watch the media or the news is that it has zero positive influence on my life, and that is one. The point 2 is that we all know, especially since COVID, that all the media is what it is, I guess, is to be said politely, and you just cannot perhaps take that seriously, really. And this is because of how they approach things. I would not read it in the first place, because you can read and you can see, well, that's already something. Now, thirdly, I perhaps I don't know, like I think Taj Mahal is a really amazing packaging of India. You have the better university than MIT, but again, like if I did not look into that, I wouldn't have known. Yeah, so yeah, like for example, Slovakia has also really very poor packaging of the tourism, but it is here due to corruption reasons, and I found out why. So it's not that there isn't a will. There are different things at play. Hopefully in India it's tiny bit different, but I think, as I've reiterated a few times by now, I do think that image of India has been changing. It's been changing a lot. And I feel like towards a positive way, and it is hugely, I feel like, especially my generation, all these things are shaped by people that actually visited the countries. And if the person visits the country and said it's amazing and it's clean, it's great, right? You get a great recommendation. But if the person has visited and said, well, it's like dirty and I didn't like it and it feels safe, it's a different consideration, right? And then you go and research on Google. So I struggle to see why, like, how people would pay attention to the legacy media and what they have to say. That's kind of pretty much my 2 cents. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe and share. And I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, take care. Bye-bye. Much luck. Bye.